It seems problematic because no one wants to deal with a bunch of someone else's pee.
Now at 7, bottles of pee dumped on people's lawns in Northeast Portland. We're going to hear from some frustrated residents who say they've been dealing with this pee problem for months now. Also coming up.
There are AI tools and other forms of machine learning tools that actually start to match up what the problem is with who can be the solution.
How artificial intelligence is being used to find foster families all across the state of Oregon.
Plus I'm sorry, Kitty. I overstepped you there. We're talking about the Humane Society in Southwest Washington this morning. They are overrun by cats right now. We're going to hear why the problem is happening and also what the shelter is doing to address the issue. All that coming up here on the Sunrise Show, streaming live at 7 o'clock. We start right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Rod Hill also on board with us this hour. He's live in the Weather Center. So, Rodney,
yes,
what do you got for us?
Yeah. So far this morning, the low clouds we have are higher than 24 hours ago. Because of that, we're not getting reports of any mist or drizzle. That could still happen, but right now, the cloud base is high enough that if you're getting ready to step outside, it is dry as far as I know up and down the valley. Here's the Salem sky camera. Overcast skies, 56 degrees, winds are light. Yesterday at this time, the clouds were starting to come down and just kind of kiss or touch the West Hills. So far, that is not the case. 59, we are dry. 63 at noon. We do expect the clouds to thin somewhat again this afternoon. And if that happens, we'll be back up to about 70 for a high. So another very comfortable day. Back to you.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 7:01, and we have a traffic reminder for you in Tigard. Starting this morning at 9 o'clock, Southwest Durham Road will be closed on the west side of Upper Boones Ferry Road. Now, this closure was supposed to begin tomorrow, but again, actually started today. And that stretch of Durham Road will stay closed until 9 o'clock Monday night while crews work to replace a railroad crossing.
Our top news headline this hour is an update to a story we covered live yesterday here on Sunrise. 2 armed carjacking suspects are still on the loose after police pulled the plug on their hours-long search in Northeast Portland. The carjacking itself took place around 4 in the morning yesterday in the Hazelwood neighborhood near Northeast 108th and Haslow. Investigators say the suspects only drove a few blocks to Northeast 114th before they got out of the car and ran off. Police issued a shelter-in-place for that neighborhood, and it lasted for hours.
Our neighborhood has changed a lot. My kids used to run in the streets and play outside all the time, but now they've grown up, but I wouldn't want them to be out alone.
Anyone with information about the carjacking or the suspects should contact Portland Police.
Portland police arrested a man accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at a home in Southeast Portland and vandalizing a North Portland boba tea shop. 37-year-old Christian Clarita right there is facing nearly 30 charges ranging from bias crime to criminal mischief. Surveillance video from last week shows the suspect throwing objects through the door of Anti-Hob Boba shop before returning the next day to damage a window. According to detectives, Clarita is also accused of breaking windows last month at an apartment in Southeast Portland.
Admitted to throwing a firebomb at the entryway of the house and left another to show the victim, who he called Chinese people, quote unquote, that he wants to be left alone.
We are too scared to come back to because we are always worrying that he may really use his gun to shoot us.
Prosecutors have asked a judge to keep Clarita in custody while his case plays out. He's scheduled to be back in court next week.
All right, next story this morning, one we've been talking about since 5 o'clock. Residents in Northeast Portland say they are frustrated, to say the least, because someone's been dumping bottles filled with urine in their trash bins since September.
Now, police say it's a crime, while City Waste Disposal says they won't even touch it. KGW's Catherine Cook spoke with neighbors left to deal with the gross situation.
They look like a gallon size.
6 giant bottles, once filled with water.
I don't know what's there now.
Likely filled with urine. Neighbors around Northeast 70th and Beach
I asked her if she got pee bottled.
have been seeing this a lot lately.
It seems problematic because no one wants to deal with a bunch of someone else's pee.
Somebody else said, take it into the house and put it down the drain. I'm not touching that.
Jean found this stash Tuesday morning, recycling day. Someone had set the containers among items in her blue bins on this gravel median. And while some might argue urine can be recycled into water, that's not how it works here.
And I said, what do I do with it? And nobody could tell me.
We reached out to Metro. A spokesperson told us their hazardous waste facilities don't accept human waste. However, they said their RID patrol will often clean up messes left in public right-of-ways like this one. Jean filed a request, and Metro told us in this case they will respond. Jean's lucky.
Whoever's doing it seems to like Crystal Geyser.
In other cases, the urine bottles have landed on private property. Metro tells us RID Patrol can't respond to those situations, and there have been several.
This is a bigger thing. This is not just random, and it's happening all over.
Jean's neighbor, Bruce Porter, is tired of it. He wants whoever's leaving the bottles of pee to get help if they need it.
You can't carry 6 2-gallon jugs of waste without having a purpose to it.
Whatever the reason, Jean just wants this gone.
I don't want to touch it. But more importantly, I don't want the guy to come back next week and do the same thing.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, so if this happens to you and the RID crew that we just talked about can't respond, Metro suggests that you check with your local trash and waste pickup company. Otherwise, they say you should put on a pair of gloves and dump the urine in a storm drain, in a toilet, or they say in a yard. Police, meanwhile, asking people to check their security cameras and report anything they find suspicious.
The Oregon State Marine Board and law enforcement across the state are reminding people not to boat under the influence during the 4th of July holiday, because from July 4th to the 6th, they will be out looking for impaired drivers to try and reduce the number of accidents related to boating under the influence. So that means alcohol, marijuana, or any other substances that impairs a person's ability to operate a boat safely. The consequences of BUII are possible jail time, a fine of more than $6,000, and the loss of boating privileges. The Humane Society of Southwest Washington is dealing with a kitten emergency after getting over 50 cats just in one day. They say the cats were found in an RV in Battleground after their owner died. The cats were then brought to the Vancouver shelter, which was already operating at 185% capacity. And the shelter says now, with the influx of animals, it's waiving all adoption fees tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday.
325 cats who are currently in our care. 100 of those are available for adoption. Our team will prepare for probably double to triple the number of adoptions, I think.
The Humane Society also says another contributing factor to the influx of cats kitten season. The cats rescued from the RV, by the way, should be up for adoption in about a week. Headed over Rod Hill now for a look at weather.
Hi, good morning. Another very comfortable day coming our direction. Touch humid out there yesterday, and you'll probably notice that again today. Our live cameras show that we are mainly dry despite the cloud cover. Here's Snoqualmie Casino Resort in Lincoln City being reported as dry, 55 degrees, some shallow fog right there. And then here's the Reserve Vineyards Golf Club in Aloha. So without doubt, we're now in the 7 o'clock hour, and this cloud deck is much higher than it was 24 hours ago. And because of that, it's completely dry outside, 59 degrees. So the clouds could lower somewhat in the coming hours, but as we get going to the 8 o'clock hour, if the clouds are still high, then we probably will not see patchy drizzle this morning in the valley. This does show at 10 o'clock this morning the threat of some light rain or drizzle around the coast. We'll see. Here's the low clouds banking up in the Cascades and then sunshine across the rest of our state today. So the forecast numbers east of the Cascades, generally about 80 or so for a high. This shows John Day at 81, Bend at 81. Cloudiness much of the day. Maybe the clouds thin a little bit later on. If so, that'll help us getting back up to about 70 or 72 up and down I-5, and another day with temperatures around 60 or so at the coast. Here's our 7-day. So once we get out of today, we'll start to brighten up and warm up. Tomorrow, partial clearing during the day, 75. Saturday, still comfortable. I've lowered the high from 84 down to 81. That's looking to be a really nice day. But then we have a couple of hot ones. Sunday, I now have at 90. I have Monday still at 94. And then we start to drop the temperatures Tuesday, Wednesday after that. And of course, the back half of that next week there is July 4th weekend. Week from tomorrow is July 4th. All right, back
That's
to you.
right, Rod.
Yeah.
Holiday weekend coming soon. Drive times coming your way right now. We are taking a look around the area. Nothing too bad to report. Really smooth sailing so far this morning on that drive from Wilsonville into downtown Portland to the Markham Bridge. Right now, that drive is only taking riders 18 minutes. We'll have more traffic for you coming up a little bit later this half hour.
Still to come on Sunrise, new foster parents found with the help of artificial intelligence. Plus, changes coming your way for your credit score. Why Afterpay is no longer an afterthought. When you can expect to buy now, pay later loans to hit your credit score. A look at your consumer headlines with Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues in just 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
The recruiting arm of Oregon's foster care system is reporting the best success it's ever had when it comes to finding new foster parents to take in kids.
They're giving credit to AI technology that helps find people in certain geographic areas using text messages, email, and ads. KGW's Libby Dowsett explains.
There's so many good ones right now.
Foster parent Ecole Copen has a home surrounded by flowers, berries, and vegetables.
The blueberries and the strawberries and the garden and the space.
Just what she envisioned when she dreamed of being a foster parent.
Picking berries with my kids, and having them plant seeds and watch things grow.
3 months ago, she finally got the call from Child Welfare.
I've got 2 kids. They go to school 5 minutes from you. Do you want to meet them? And it's an overnight experience. You're like, I have a day to decide.
And she went for it.
I decided I didn't want my own child. I was just like, I don't need to bring another kid into this planet. Like, there are plenty of kids that I know I could easily fall in love with that need love.
Copen didn't realize it at the time, but she had been on recruiters' radar for a while. Her home fit the need for 2 siblings.
We're not doing anything to surveil. Actually, what we're just trying to do is encourage folks in the community around what the particular community need is, and to encourage hospitality and generosity.
Ben Sand is with the contingent that oversees Every Child, the agency that serves as the Oregon Department of Human Services child welfare recruiting arm for foster families.
What we've seen is not just more families coming forward, but those strategic families, those families that really need to step forward to fit the need for particular children in particular communities.
Teams from Microsoft helped develop the high-tech strategy based on the recruiting machines used in our national elections.
There are AI tools and other forms of machine learning tools that actually start to match up what the problem is with who can be the solution.
Using data from each zip code in Oregon, the contingent identifies traits of kids in care and matches them with potential foster parents.
What's happened is states across the country are now looking at Oregon as this best-in-class strategy. And so that's actually informed a lot of our national expansion, and now we're growing across the country.
Copen says if the process helps find new foster parents, it works for her. She hopes it encourages others to give it a shot.
It feels like it should as a parent, you know, like it's parenting. It's not rocket science. It's not the hardest thing in the world, and it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
We have one more note to that report from Libby. Advocates in Washington, D.C. are pushing lawmakers to use this AI technology all across the country. 2 other states we know already use it, Arkansas and Tennessee.
Here's a look at your consumer headlines. A federal judge has dismissed a copyright lawsuit against Facebook's parent company Meta. A group of authors had claimed that Meta used their work without permission to train its artificial intelligence, but the judge sided with Meta, ruling that the company use falls under fair use. And this comes just days after a separate case cleared another AI chatbot, Claude, of similar copyright claims. Buy now, pay later plans will soon impact your credit score. FICO announced that it would release a new credit score model in the fall that would take into account the buy now, pay later loans offered by popular services like Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm. Currently, those loans only impact your credit score if they go unpaid and end up in collections. And new data shows the average American is holding onto their cars for about 12 and a half years. On average, that's a year higher than 10 years ago. Experts say with tariffs possibly coming into play and the rising new car costs, more people will likely just hold on to their cars.
All right, Rodney Hill, back in the mix. 12 years is a long time.
We drive is a 2007 Forester.
And you got it in 2007?
Yeah, bought it new in 2007. It's a good car, man.
18 years.
Good car.
Wow.
Congrats. You're always clapping for the birthday list. I'm clapping for Rod Hill and his family for keeping that car going for 18 years.
It's a good car. Here's a look at July 4th outlook. You know, we're getting closer, right? Not this weekend, but next weekend, of course. July 4th is a week from tomorrow. Weather modeling is not what I would call locked in yet. And, you know, as a forecaster, you look at trends and you're like, wow, that's going to be this way. And then next day it's like, well, that was gone. Now it's showing this. And then it goes back and forth. But here's the latest hunch of the back and forthness, if you will. So again, if you have plans July 4th weekend, just note we're following this and we'll be updating the situation. But right now, I would say no heat wave over the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3-day holidays. Temperatures 70s to low 80s at most, it would appear. Kind of a mixed bag of clouds and sun. There's actually a weak low that is showing up, and that low could be moving in July 4th afternoon, evening, and if so, that would bring a shower, even a scattered thunderstorm threat. And of course, that Friday night would be when all the big fireworks shows would be going on. So we'll keep you updated on that. But still, you know, as we say, kind of lots of moving parts on that forecast. But I know you're starting to think about your July 4th weather, and so am I. All right, all of our coast cams are cloudy. Here's the Inn at Otter Crest looking south down the Oregon coast. This is south of Lincoln City in Lincoln County. Good morning to you. Coast reports are mostly showing dry weather this morning, as we are here in the valley. Cloud deck is clearly above the West Hills. You're looking from the camera at Providence Park right there up at the West Hills. 57 is the early morning number. Here are the other temps, kind of where we've been. There's no weather-related issues this morning whatsoever. You'll find partly cloudy skies in the Dalles and out east. You'll find it's camera over in Sun River right now is beautifully sunny. Bend 55. 58 in John Day. Clouds up and down I-5. It's a cloudy drive up to Seattle, 56 degrees this morning. Futurecast shows, like yesterday, the low marine cloud deck blanketing western Washington and much of Oregon. The green specks still watching for the potential we get some patchy light moisture. This does show a little wave of moisture going up through Seattle this afternoon into this evening. But here in Oregon, it primarily shows dry weather later today with our cloudiness expected to maybe thin out just a little bit, which is what happened yesterday, and that would allow us to get back up to about 70. 60, 62 at the beach today. So far, the only confirmed report of some precipitation this morning has been up in Astoria. Here's the valley forecast. Watching for some patchy morning drizzle. Haven't seen it. We may not. If the clouds don't lower, we won't. 73 in Salem later today. Out in the gorge, light winds this morning. Typical west breeze this afternoon coming for you. Partly to mostly sunny skies. 70s from Hood River out to the Dalles. Portland 70 today, tomorrow partial clearing 75. The weekend still looks sunny both days and warming up. 81 Saturday, and there's that 90-degree temperature that we're projecting on Sunday, followed by a 94 on Monday. It must be traffic time. By the way, McGinnis, I think, is back with us on Monday. He's been on a long vacation. He'll be back next week.
Yes, a nice stretch of time off for Mr. Chris, but he is back in business next week. In the meantime, we try to do our best Chris McGinnis impersonation. Smooth sailing on both the upper and lower deck of the Markham Bridge in downtown Portland. We can tell you that much for sure. Traffic map, bigger picture now. We'll take a look, and definitely some red, orange, and yellow popping up across the area. We'll keep an eye on traffic for you as we cruise through the 7 o'clock hour of sunrise. Of course, we also have an 8 o'clock hour coming your way this morning, so stay tuned for all of that. Coming up next here on the Sunrise Show, we're talking about President Trump, who says he plans to meet with Iran next week to iron out more details on the ceasefire deal with Israel. We're going to hear what the president had to say about the deal while attending the NATO summit this week. National headlines 2 minutes away.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Welcome back to Sunrise. President Trump is back at the White House this morning after meeting with world leaders this week at the NATO summit. And he says there's a meeting on the calendar next week with Iran. NBC's Alice Barr has more on this for us from Washington, D.C.
President Trump back in Washington after the NATO summit, looking to extend a diplomatic win with the Israel-Iran ceasefire into talks with Iran.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know.
The president downplaying the necessity of signing a deal, insisting U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites already accomplished the goal of preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon.
I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come.
He's pushing back forcefully on a preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency estimating Iran's nuclear program was delayed by a matter of months.
They presented a report that wasn't finished.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess.
Defense Secretary Hegseth said the agency had low confidence in its initial assessment. President Trump citing Israeli intelligence that the strikes set Iran's nuclear capabilities back by many years and rendered the critical underground Fordo site inoperable. Iran also acknowledging its nuclear installations were badly damaged. And the CIA director now says credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program was severely damaged and would take years to rebuild. Two sources say he is among the top Trump officials set to brief senators today who have been pressing for answers.
Do we know whether the uranium was there? Do we know whether the centrifuges were there? What is the state of those facilities?
House members due to be briefed tomorrow. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here's a look at some other national headlines with your morning rush. A federal judge in Colorado ruled that prosecutors can proceed with a hate crime charge against the man accused of hurling Molotov cocktails at demonstrators in Boulder. 15 people were hurt during a June 1st rally in support of Israeli hostages. Investigators say Mohammed Solomon planned the attack for a year and was driven by a desire to, quote, kill all Zionist people. Meanwhile, lawmakers in Washington, D.C. came together in a rare unanimous vote, creating a resolution that condemns the deadly shooting of a Minnesota lawmaker earlier this month. State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died in the attack. The shooter also targeted Senator John Hoffman and his wife. The new U.S. House resolution calls for unity and a renewed commitment to peaceful democracy. Hey, time is running out to cash in on the major Apple settlement involving Siri. The deadline to file a claim in the multi-million-dollar lawsuit is next Wednesday. You may remember back in January, Apple agreed to resolve a lawsuit that alleged it secretly activated Siri to record conversations through Apple products. Now, even though it agreed to the settlement, Apple is not acknowledging any wrongdoing in this case. And that's a look at your morning rush. Coming up in our next half hour, the latest on the back and forth over Multnomah County's Preschool for All program as parents push back against an effort in Salem to get rid of it. Also at 7:30, what we know about not one, but two scams targeting people in Washington. Sunrise, streaming live at 7 o'clock, continues right after this.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
On a cloudy Thursday morning, good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Here's our state capitol. What we're noticing as weather forecasters this morning is that the low cloud deck is much higher than 24 hours ago. The higher the clouds are, the less the chance of any precip, especially drizzle or mist, like we had 24 hours ago. So if the clouds stay high, here they are clearly above the West Hills, we won't have any moisture this morning. Now, it's still too early coming up on 7:30 to say that that's not going to be the case. But for right now, it is all dry as you get going. 59 degrees in Portland. Our weather map today still showing sunny skies Over the Cascades, east of the Cascades, Bend 80, Baker City 79 at 5 o'clock, really comfortable weather. We've had reports of some misty weather up around Astoria, but much of the beach is also drier this morning than yesterday as well. Daytime highs will reach about 60. So our planner, cloudy for the most part again today. We might thin out the cloud deck somewhat this afternoon. 63 at noon, 70 at 5 o'clock. Here's that 7-day forecast, still showing a sunny weekend. 81 on Saturday, but we turn it up on Sunday to 90, 94 on Monday.
7:30, half hour of the Sunrise Show, streaming live here at 7 o'clock on KGW Plus. Are you excited about this chocolate cow?
That's the one that makes chocolate milk.
There it is.
That is a life-sized chocolate cow. Full chocolate, baby. Yeah.
Chocolate milk right there. Chocolate milk.
Go. That's all happening so fast.
That's
there.
aggressive.
Yes. Okay, so what do we just look at here? Lots of things happening.
We need to unpack this.
This chocolate cow, by the way, weighed at one point 1,100 pounds. You saw the kid earlier a moment ago. It looked like he was milking the cow, but he was actually collecting chocolate from its udders. And then organizers, yes, as you saw right there, broke up the cow and auctioned off pieces of the chocolate cow to all the people at the festival who wanted some.
Where's this at?
Chile.
Oh, Chile.
There was a big chocolate festival last weekend in Chile. And they took the chocolate cow and they auctioned it off after breaking it all up.
Move over, Hershey's.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Get it?
Oh, yeah, I get
Moo.
it. And now I'm wishing I didn't.
No, I got
it.
I got it.
Come on.
All right. Not a bad day coming. We're going to be comfortable again like we were yesterday. I know it was a touch humid yesterday, but hey, it's late June, and we're talking about highs in Portland and Salem only up to around 70 again. So much of the country, maybe all of the country, would just love to have our weather, right? Here's Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. People out walking on the beach, some shallow ground fog along the beach, but you can see the land, meaning it's not overall foggy. And so far, Lincoln City has been reporting dry weather, 56 degrees. It was misty in the same spot yesterday morning. In this same spot yesterday morning, the clouds were producing fog over the West Hills, and we were getting patchy drizzle reports. So far, not this morning. The cloud deck has been holding higher, and we have been dry. Still looking for the chance there could be some patchy mist. If it doesn't happen between now and, 10 at the latest, it's not going to happen. So maybe we would stay dry this morning. 63 at noon, and then thinning cloud cover, and we get up to about 70 at 5 o'clock. Pretty nice day underway so far.
All right, Rod Hill, your time now is 7:32. We're taking a look at your drive times. Red on I-5 Main Street to I-405, that's going south. 18 minutes is what that's going to take you. And then I-205 Patton Parkway to I-84, green is go, meaning that's going to take you only about 12 minutes.
Top news story here at 7:30, just days after Oregon lawmakers proposed an amendment to end the Preschool for All program in Multnomah County. Parents and other community members made sure that their voices were heard in support of this program.
Yeah, so Willamette Week is reporting that the chair of the Senate Finance Committee says the bill will not advance out of committee, but KGW is working to independently verify those comments. But here's John Adams with more.
Parents and advocates for Preschool for All in Multnomah County are pushing back. Less than 48 hours after a late-night amendment in Salem was proposed to end the program.
The program's been so transformational for my family that I wanted to come out here and make sure my voice was heard advocating for it.
The program, approved by voters in 2020, aims to cover the cost of preschool for many families who are under a certain income threshold and may struggle with paying for their child's care.
That's what a lot of parents in my community face every day. Do I pay my rent or do I pay for childcare?
But criticism from lawmakers outside the county has picked up steam in recent weeks. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek sent a letter to Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega Peterson 2 weeks ago questioning the program, which is paid for by a 1% personal income tax to those who make above $125,000 or couples who make above $200,000. County Commissioner Megan Moyer was blindsided by that letter and claimed statements in the letter were false and misleading.
One, the unbelievable inaccuracies of the governor's letter, but also just very flawed economic analysis.
Both Moyer and Vega Peterson addressed the State Senate Committee on Finance on Tuesday, advocating for the program to be kept in place.
But the answer, I'm sorry, is not tax cuts to the ultra wealthy at the expense of economic programs we know drive growth.
With parents of children in the program concerned of what may happen if Preschool for All disappears.
I don't think this is how you want to treat some of the more vulnerable parts of our society. like, we can do better, and we need to do better.
John Adams, KGW News.
All right, a rare turn of events in this next story. Portland City Council is actually reversing course, changing the outcome of a vote after it received pushback over this controversial vote that threatened funding for programs that provide everything from meals to abuse prevention for underserved kids. The Portland Children's Levy Committee had recommended $70 million worth of grants using money from an existing property tax. But council members initially rejected this idea in a 7-5 vote, citing, quote, equity concerns. Then the Oregonian's editorial board slammed the move, literally called it council's, quote, most reckless decision yet. After hearing directly from the impacted nonprofits and the Levy Committee, all 7 members who voted no changed their votes on this to yes.
With just 4 days left in the Oregon legislative session, lawmakers have made significant amendments to monster transportation funding bill. The gas tax will still increase, but only once, and it won't be indexed to inflation. The changes also eliminate the vehicle transfer tax and reduce the size of some DMV fee hikes. And the payroll transit tax hike remains unchanged, and so does the choice for EV drivers to pay per mile. But a public hearing and work session is scheduled for today.
Metro Council President Lynn Peterson is less than optimistic, you might say, about the state of Portland, specifically when it comes to the homeless crisis. Peterson's comments at a City Club event recently reflect really some of the concerns here, specifically, again, about a large budget deficit at city and county levels.
So what's the state of our region? If I'm being diplomatic, I could call it non-ideal. If I'm being frank, it is in critical condition. Since the last state of the region, we have had a drumbeat of stories about an economic doom loop. We have seen the number of unsheltered homeless rise despite tireless efforts from our counties and cities.
Yesterday's remarks came one day after Portland's regional government indicated it won't put an extension of the homeless services tax on this year's ballot. Now, if the tax isn't extended, it will end in 2030. Right now, high-income earners across the Tri-County area pay that tax.
Multnomah County's Health Department and OHSU-PSU School of Public Health are officially joining forces. It's being called a first-of-its-kind academic partnership. The school is located in the Van Port building on the Portland State campus, but public health efforts will often take place outside the classroom and in the community.
It's that meshing together of what we research and what we teach and what we do in practice, and that's a huge gain for our students and our faculty.
This collaboration is really a win-win for everyone. It has mutual benefits in teaching, in research, in preparing students for the real-life challenges that they're going to face.
Leaders from both sides of the partnership say some collaboration is already underway.
Multnomah County announced it's making it easier to refer people to just one of its temporary 24/7 sobering centers. So the change applies to the Coordinated Care Pathway Center over on Northeast Sandy. Starting this week, outreach workers for 5 different community partners that deliver behavioral health services are now able to refer people struggling with addiction to that specific center. Before this, only law enforcement was allowed to make those referrals. So the community partners involved here, all listed right there on the screen. They include Portland Street Response, Project Respond, and 4D Recovery. I do believe this is one of my favorite stories this morning on the Sunrise Show. Researchers are calling this a first-of-its-kind discovery. New Puget Sound drone video shows southern resident killer whales using kelp to clean each other. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Scientists say they take the kelp from the seafloor, then they go find a partner, and they roll the kelp between their bodies. They call it allokelping. That's the technical term, okay. Allokelping. The Center for Whale Research says it appears to be a form of grooming that whales do for skin hygiene.
So what's interesting here is they're not just finding an object in their environment and then picking it up and using it as a tool. They're finding these complete kelp stalks in their environment, which as they are would not be usable for this behavior, and then actively changing it and modifying that object until it is now useful.
Again, the big headline here, this is the first time marine mammals have ever been spotted using something like kelp as a grooming tool. Rod, you'll notice China not in this shot right now. She actually found some kelp on the floor of our news studio. She's going to run in there and try to groom you this morning using that kelp. Stand by for that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's a fascinating story, though, right? Anytime we learn these behaviors. One of the stories making headline, our producer Alex just walked in. I thought it was China out of the corner of my eye, and I was going to run. All right. That's cooling down across the east, where day after day after day, we've had all those excessive heat warnings. Both D.C. and Philly and New York have all been up to around 100 degrees. It's been really hot in Boston. These are current temperatures, and still being near 90 at this time of the morning. New York is only at 69. There's actually some showers that have pushed through New England and New York State and much of the Northeast. So later today, New York maybe stays in the 70s, and even D.C. and Cincinnati still being upper 90s to 100 or back down to about 90 degrees. So it looks like for the bulk of that area, the excessive heat concern is coming to an end. Good news there. All right, Timberline, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Only cloudiness this means that we have are the low clouds that are coming in off the Pacific, banking up against the lower elevations of the Cascades. Anything above that is clear. 44 this morning up at Timberline. Here's a look at that cloud deck I mentioned from our Chehalem tasting room camera in Sherwood. 57. The clouds are high enough this morning that it's keeping us dry. When the clouds are at a certain elevation, you're just not going to get mist or drizzle out of them. We were getting reports of that in this hour yesterday morning, but so far not. 58 in Tigard. Light winds, really a super comfortable, pleasant morning. 57 Kaiser, 56 in Salem. Mr. Bill, hello. Dog of the day at kgw.com is the email. Send us your dog's photo and name, and your dog will become our dog of the day. Let's get you to your 7-day forecast. Sunshine, central and eastern areas today in about 80. Here in the valley, we'll get up to about 70. Remember, today was the day that I told you, maybe mistakenly so, that we would have the best chance to get some measurable light precip. It's playing out so far that we may not get any. We may just stay dry. We'll get up to 70 this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll break out of the clouds gradually. And then we have that sunny weekend still on track. 81 Saturday, 90 on Sunday. That is your update.
Thank you, Rod. All right, let's take a look at your drive times. We're in the yellow here, people. All right, we got Highway 26, 33 miles per hour. You're going good. You're obeying the law over there. A little under. That's all right. 23 minutes, Brookwood Parkway to I-405. And then everything else is looking pretty good. Wilsonville Road to Markham Bridge going to take you about 22 minutes going north on I-5. Still to come on Sunrise, Oaks Park celebrating Pride with its annual Pride Rides event. We got the details plus more weekend things to do coming up when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
Hey, I'm Blair Best, and tonight at 6:30 on The Story, gas tax, privilege tax, transit tax, oh my! With 3 days left in the legislative session, the transportation funding bill has a crucial hearing today in Salem. Will lawmakers make it to the end of the road in time? Watch The Story tonight live at 6:30 on KGW or anytime on our TV app, KGW+. Have a great morning, and I'll see you tonight.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Whether you are into bike rides, Scandinavian crafts.
Oh,
Drew,
yep. I'm listening now.
That's his thing.
You got me.
That's his bread and butter.
Scandinavian crafts, let's go.
What? Or tea parties.
Oh, yeah, another one of my faves.
Pinky out. Local events happening for everyone this weekend. Christine Bidawanich brings us some of the top ones to check out with your weekend things to do.
I'm Christine Pidawanich. We are getting closer to the weekend, and there are plenty of things to do in the area. Here's a look at a few events you might want to check out. Several Pride events are happening this weekend. That includes Pride in the Park at Beaverton's City Park. That'll be Sunday from 11 until 5 with a parade kicking things off. Tigard's Pride Parade and Festival happens Saturday from 2 to 4:30 at Tigard High School. And there is another Sunday Parkways event too. This time it's the Cully neighborhood's turn in Northeast Portland. Streets will close to cars on Sunday to allow for biking, walking, and playing in the road. The closure lasts from 11 to 4. Also, it's time for the Midsummer Festival. The event is steeped in centuries-old Scandinavian traditions. There will be the Midsummer Pole, crafts, and of course, good food. The two-day festival starts Friday at 5 and continues Saturday from 10 until 5 at Nordic Northwest in Southwest Portland. OregonMidsummer.com has all the information. And for the tea lovers out there, you'll want to head to the World Forestry Center in Washington Park on Saturday. From 9:30 until 6, it's Tea Fest. There will be tastings, tea ceremonies, and workshops. You can go to teafestpdx.com if you'd like to learn more. And for additional weekend inspiration, you can check out the 8 Things to Do article up each week at kgw.com.
After filling your belly with tea, might I suggest going over to Oaks Park and taking a ride on the Scrambler? Probably not a great idea, actually, but Oaks Park does have something fun planned this weekend. Its annual Pride Month Pride Rides event is happening on Sunday. Now, this features discounted rides, community performers, and a vendor fair with LGBTQ+ owned and operated businesses. There will also be free cake, balloons, and a special edition Pride Skate at the Oaks Park roller rink. You can save 30% on ride bracelets online with the code PRIDERIDES25. Pride Skate admission, by the way, costs $13.50. You've been to that Oaks Park skating rink, Rod Hill, haven't you, before?
Yeah, so we did a live shot there some years back with me on the roller skates, in fact, yeah. Historic it is.
It is a historic roller rink.
And by the way, if you're new to our area, I'm a big Oaks Park fan.
For sure.
It's cute, it's clean, it's in today's world, it's a very good value, I think, for what they charge you and what you get. And it's just perfect. It's along the river, and they have that great little mini golf course there.
That's true, too. Boys had their 5th birthday, I think it was there, and it was actually a great 5-year-old birthday party. So there you go. Can we say enough good things about Oaks Park?
We love Oaks Park.
Go to Oaks Park.
Oaks Park.
Oaks Park. All right. You know what is a week from tomorrow, the 4th of July. That's right, just like that. So on the one hand, I know you're wondering about it, so I want to give you the information I have as a forecaster. But on the flip side, I also want to remind you that the modeling has not locked in. It's been kind of back and forth, and even if it were locked in, there's plenty of time for the forecast to change. But in terms of what I am seeing right now, this is what I'm seeing. I don't see any heat wave next Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Again, a week from this coming weekend, July 4th weekend. I see temperatures in the 70s to low 80s at most. That's good. I see a mix of cloudiness and sun. I do see a low center that the current track would bring it up into our area the PM hours of Friday, July 4th into Friday night. That would be bad because that's fireworks night, and that low would bring a reasonable threat of scattered showers and maybe even thunderstorm activity, which would be really bad because you wouldn't be outside of the large gathering if there were scattered storms in the area. So lots of time for things to twist and turn, but that's what we're seeing right now. Follow along, as the saying goes. All right, hello, goat, right there. Just a reminder with these comfortable temperatures, which we will see all day today, it's going to be great weather to go to the zoo. If you're going to be out working, it's going to be a fairly comfortable day. A touch humid, but we're talking about highs today, again, only about 70 right now or 58. All dry up in the West Hills. The bricks are dry, and if things don't change in the next couple of hours with the cloud deck, which is fairly high right now, then we will not get the light precip that I thought we would have a good chance of seeing today. So that forecast could be proven wrong. And right now, we're tracking dry weather that might simply hold. 56 in Astoria. We are under the clouds. Most of the coast is reporting dry weather this morning as well. 55 in Newport. Good morning to you. Another sunny start over in Bend. The Sun River Resort camera I have eyes on is beautifully clear right now. So gorgeous morning. Good morning to all you folks in Redmond. Good morning to you in Madras. John Day, 60 currently. Baker City, good morning, 57. Futurecast shows the sunshine at noon. All areas except for the west side. And here we are on the west side of Oregon and Washington underneath the clouds. This does show at noon there could be some light moisture still possible, mainly along the coast. This also takes a little bit of light rain later today near to north of Seattle. If you are going to be driving up there later this morning, rain jacket with you. And then tomorrow we'll finally get out of this low cloud pattern during the day and gradually see some partial clearing. The weekend still looks sunny. Back to today, though, mostly cloudy, holding on to that chance of some light moisture at the coast. Astoria, 61 today. You folks earlier this morning did have some mist at the airport. Out in the gorge, partly to mostly sunny, a breezy afternoon, but not overly windy. 12 to 25 mile per hour breezes and highs mainly holding shy of 80. Portland 70 today with the cloudiness for the most part. Tomorrow, some afternoon clearing 75, and then the sunny weekend 81, 90 on Sunday. Plan accordingly. 94 on Monday. Plan accordingly. And then we'll start to drop the temperatures down. Don't plan at all on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Meaning no concerns.
Yes, sir.
Back to you.
Yeah, ACs at home and in the car. Going to be working overtime Sunday and Monday for sure. Things pretty slow right now out there on the roadways, specifically on I-5 South from Main Street onto Main Street to 405, I-5 South. You can see that is down to a 22-minute drive. Definitely better situation on 205 South from Patton Parkway to I-84. People cruising along, still more than 60 miles an hour at this hour.
All right, coming up in just 2 minutes, not just one, but two scam warnings out of Washington. How you can protect yourself when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
All right, it must be a scam season because for the third day in a row, we're warning you about a scam happening in our area.
The Department of Licensing in Washington is calling attention to a scam that involves a text message that appears to be from the DMV claiming people have unpaid traffic tickets. So we can show you what this text message looks like exactly. Officials say there's a few clues here that tell you it's definitely a scam. Number one is the international area code. There are lots of spelling mistakes, and there's also a fake website link. And another big clue that this is a scam, the state of Washington doesn't actually have a DMV.
Unlike other states, we refer to ourselves as the Department of Licensing. We wouldn't be asking people, especially to make an urgent payment like this. And so if you want to check your license status, you can create a License Express account on our website.
The Don't Call Us the DMV, Department of Licensing, says There's been a surge in calls from people asking about this text message. So they say if you get something like this, you can report it to the Federal Trade Commission.
And in Bellevue, Washington, police are warning about a new scam that has swindled people out of thousands of dollars, and in one case, more than $1 million. The scammers are targeting people in their 20s and 30s, and they tell the victims that they're involved in some serious crimes like fraud, identity theft, or even major criminal incidents happening worldwide. The scammers then ask for highly sensitive documents like social security numbers, passport copies, and tax forms to prove their innocence, along with large sums of money. And now to a story of a scamming suspect caught on camera allegedly admitting that she was part of a larger operation.
NBC's Tom Costello brings us more on what investigators are calling not a pandemic, but a global scamdemic.
Thomas. The admission caught on a Colorado police officer's body cam will make you angry. A woman calling herself Rebecca admits she just scammed a senior couple out of $20,000.
Who is this that I'm speaking to?
The person who scammed them.
You scammed them?
Yes.
Why?
For the money. So they got the gift cards and I got the money from it.
Tom and Sue told our Denver affiliate KUSA TV that they'd received an email that they owed money for a phone they didn't buy with a number to call. When they did, Rebecca answered, saying she was a federal agent, and then convinced them to buy dozens of gift cards and give her the PIN codes.
She was very, very convincing.
Their local bank called police, who then called Rebecca back. But amazingly, the scammer, likely overseas, seemed to feel sorry for her victims.
Just calm them down and give them some water and explain them what happened to them, okay?
KUSA Denver reporter Steve Steger.
This couple said their life is in the sewer. They have to start saving again from scratch at age 75.
Scam investigator Aaron West says international criminal networks run a multi-billion-dollar global scandemic.
These groups are operating out of massive compounds using human trafficked workers and forcing them to execute these scams around the world all day, every day.
And it's very difficult to get stolen money back.
And KGW Sunrise continues live at 8 o'clock on KGW Plus with breaking news from the Supreme Court about the future of Planned Parenthood.
Also next hour, what is now a deadly heat wave hitting many parts of the U.S., the high temps mixed with unbearably high humidity. Those stories plus, of course, our local forecast. All that coming up at 8 o'clock right here on KGW Plus.